Okay, this one is going to get classified under the women going their own way file. And normally that's an oxymoron, but in this case, I think the brothers will agree with me. This is the case of Britney Griner and Glory Johnson, two WNBA players that had a lesbian marriage last year. Now, just before they got married, they had a big fight and they were both arrested for domestic violence. Don't that beat all? And the reason for the fight was Glory Johnson was suspected of cheating on Miss Griner with an ex-boyfriend. So they patched things up and the ceremonies goes on without a hitch. And a couple of weeks later, Miss Johnson tells Britney Griner that she's pregnant. And the first question would come up, as most men would ask, who is the daddy, right? So this goes back and forth for a couple of weeks. And then Britney Griner files for an annulment for their 28-day marriage, which normally would be granted if they were a straight couple. But since they're a lesbian couple and they're in Arizona, the judges deny the annulment. So they have to go through the divorce process. Now, this is where it gets rich. After 28 days of being married, Glory Johnson asked for $20,000 a month in spousal support and spousal support and child support, which doesn't shock me because that's just like women, and black women especially. I don't care if it's been 2 days. I want my money. Now, even the Arizona judge, as conservative and tradcon as they are, says, I'm not going to give you no damn $20,000 a month for a 28-day marriage. So basically, they go to the arbitrators and they figure out how are they going to split the marital assets for a 28-day marriage. Now, they settle that because Miss Griner makes $1 million a year and Miss Johnson makes $125,000 a year. So that particular womb hustle does not work very well. But what's holding things up is the question of child support. And who's the daddy? Because previous to them being married, it is reported, and I'm not sure how sure that is, that Ms. Griner was coerced or talked into IVF treatments for Glory Johnson to have a child from an anonymous donor. But as fate has it, since Ms. Johnson, who seems to be bisexual, had sex with her ex-boyfriend, now quite naturally, Griner wants to know if that dude is the father of the child, and if that's the father of the child, I'm not paying for your indiscretion. So this divorce proceeding has basically been held up for about 9 months while they're disputing over who's the father. Meanwhile, the twins are born and prematurely, like 4 months premature, and these bills are adding up. Got to get those meal tickets out. Can't waste a genuine opportunity. So they're fighting over the DNA test, which Miss Johnson refuses, and her medical records for the IVF treatment, which most judges would allow in and allow Britney Griner's law team to actually examine it and see and verify what the paternity is. But evidently, the Arizona judge shuts this down. Basically, somebody's got to pay for these kids. And eventually, guess who has to pay? It's the man in the group, but this time it's the woman in the group who's playing the part of the man. And I guess the law or the gynocentrism doesn't show any favors. If you play the role, you got to play the part and pay the part in this particular case. Now, this is from the black gossip site BOSSIP, and it reads, Britney Griner will start paying for her daughter's upkeep. Former WNBA star Britney Griner has finally agreed to begin financially supporting her twin girls with estranged wife Glory Johnson. Griner will start paying Johnson $2,516 a month in child support beginning May 1st, after the pair appeared via telephone for a hearing April 14th on their divorce in Maricopa County Supreme Court. The child support is part of a larger settlement package that the pair agreed to in Arizona court last week, which will also cover medical expenses and child care for the couple's daughters. Griner, who is the who the court found is making $1.1 million a year, will also pay 90% of Johnson's child care costs, or an extra $2,835 a month for 2 nannies. Griner's children child care contribution will decrease as the girls get older. According to the hearing minutes, she'll also have to pay Johnson's $8,505 in back child care expenses. The dreadlock baller is now responsible for 90% of the twins' health care costs not covered by insurance, but will get to claim them as dependents on her taxes for the next 4 years. Johnson has to pay the remaining 10%. The babies who were born 4 months premature were and hospitalized for months after their birth require round-the-clock care, Judge Timothy Thompson wrote. According to court records, while Ms. Johnson can certainly provide some care herself, she needs significant assistance, especially during the upcoming WNBA season, the judge wrote. Griner didn't deny that she needed to pay for child care, but disputed the amount that she had to pay. Johnson, who revealed that she now makes $125,000 a year, testified that her relatives have been helping her care for the baby girls and needed more money to pay them, a reasonable rate, according to the hearing minutes. Now, this is classic womb hustling by a woman. I mean, it doesn't get any more classic than that. The only saving grace is that Britney Griner happens to be a woman. Now, if that had been a man, that tag would have skyrocketed, probably been double or triple the amount, especially for premature babies. So this shows you that gynocentrism and womb hustling knows no race, creed, color, or sex. Even if you're a woman and you're playing that role, you're going to get got. For all my lesbian sisters out there, you lesbian feminists, you're next on the clock. So I would suggest you come to our side. Form your coalition against these womb hustling chicks, because as men drop out, you're going to have to take up the slack. And then when you take up the slack, you're going to find out what we've been going through for thousands of years. But I'm just dropping this to give my MGTOW and my IBMOR brothers something to chuckle at. So we're going to pump our fist up in the air as men for a second and yell a hooray that we got one. And then we're going to have a moment of silence for Miss Britney Griner, who has found out the hard way that a woman's biological imperative, hypergamy, and gynocentrism knows no bounds, takes no prisoners, and shows no favorites. I hope you guys found this hilarious and funny, because when I saw this, I did, after I picked up my mouth off the floor. With that, folks, I'm going to take a drink, and I'm going to pour a libation for Miss Griner and say this is the best laugh I had all day. This is BGS out.